له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ولي الصالحين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الأمين وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا مزيدا دائما إلى يوم يبعثون وبعد. وأحييكم بتحية السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. There are a few notices, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, we will be sharing in a few moments. But with regards to what is happening with this virus that is going around, and how should a Muslim behave towards all of this. Firstly, when we hear of plagues, diseases, illnesses, viruses, the first thing we should do is to take the lessons from that. And one of the lessons is to return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Allah mentions in the Quran, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. So there are a number of things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test me and you in. Loss of life, wealth, fruits, fear. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ, khawf, fear. And there's a lot of scaremongering that is taking place. People are sending old videos of army tanks on the motorway, and they're saying that there's going to be a lockdown and start hoarding your food. So turns out that those videos are in fact old videos, and people are sending false propaganda, you can call it, and scaring the Muslims. And the one thing is that even if such an illness hits home, for us it's a mercy. Because inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And before this, الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ. When a calamity strikes them, they say, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Another place Allah says, مَا أَصَابَ مِن مُصِيبَةٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ وَمَنْ يُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ يَهْدِ قَلْبَهُ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. That no calamity can hit any person except with the consent, the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if it means that calamity is literally waiting over your head, it cannot strike you until Allah commands it to strike you. That's the first thing. To return back to Allah. And to spend less time on social media. A lot of messages and videos going around. If it's something good that will benefit someone, like du'as are being sent around, there is no harm in that. Somebody will read that dua, you will be rewarded for that. الدال على الخير كفاعله. However, if there are messages that you think will strike fear in the people I am sending them to, then we should abstain from that. Such as these videos that have gone viral. I mentioned the hoarding of food. And it seems that the last couple of days, since these videos have gone viral, people have panicked. And a Muslim never panics. He never fears. He has no hope. He has reliance on Allah. So even those who didn't want to panic buy, now they're panic buying, because they're thinking that, okay, if the shelves are empty, we've got enough food for 1 week, we need to stock up for at least another few weeks. The government have told us, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, the food will not run out. Whether the government tells us or not, our iman is on Allah. Well, you've got doubts in Allah that Allah is not going to feed you. There's a story, and we learn great lessons from this story. I mentioned it the other night after Isha Salah. And this is not directly related to coronavirus. It's a story that once a mother was hoarding food under her child's bed. There was flour, there was rice, etc. And so the child asked the mother that, why are you stocking up on food under my bed? She said to her child that the reason why I'm doing this is that there is news going around that there's about to be a famine and we're going to have no food. There's going to be a drought, we're going to have no food. Therefore, I am stocking up on the food. So he turned around and he said, but Mom, all these years, you've taught me that Allah feeds us. Allah will never make us go hungry. Does that mean that you've been lying? Does that mean you've been lying to me? Because until now, I thought all this food comes from Allah. Allah feeds us. Now, you're hoarding food under the bed. Does that mean this is all one big lie? So therefore, in fact, in the hadith itself, which is mentioned in the Sunan of Ibn Majah, rahimahullah, he mentions that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Ravi, the narrator of this hadith is Umar ibn al-Khattab, and this hadith is Hassan, says that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is saying this, Umar ibn al-Khattab, he says the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, anybody who hoards food that he does not need, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will afflict him with calamity and leprosy. Calamity and leprosy. So here we are trying to hide away from the calamity and stocking up, yet Allah will strike us with calamity. So this doesn't mean to say we shouldn't stock up on food. Yes, we should, but not for the next 10 years. Enough to keep us going for a minimum of 1 week. And there's been a lot of false propaganda again being spread around businesses, and they've hiked up the prices. Naturally speaking, the consumer to a certain extent is responsible for this, because we ourselves are the ones who empty the shelves. People, and I'm sure you've seen videos, people are fighting over toilet paper. I mean, subhanAllah, the currency, the value of toilet paper has now gone, more expensive than the pound itself. People are fighting over toilet paper, toilet tissue, kitchen rolls. People are coming out of shopping centers with 50 kilos of rice and flour. So to a certain extent, the consumer, the customer is responsible as well. Those who, the businessmen, I am talking to them directly if they're listening as well, they should fear Allah as well. And they shouldn't be hiking the prices, but that is haram as well. If a certain item has gone expensive, then there is no harm that you raise the price. Nobody's going to sell an item cost price. But if you are receiving, if you're getting that item at the same price, and now your community is in need, and suddenly you hike up the prices, so for example, I'm giving one example, the flour is being sold at £10, now suddenly you're selling it for £40, or a bottle of Dettol was sold for £5, now suddenly you're selling it for £25, this is haram. Hoarding is haram, hiking up the prices without justification is haram as well. And both these people, whether it's a consumer or whether it's a seller, will be held accountable for this on the day of Qiyamah. Both are haram. However, those who are going into supermarkets and confronting them and then sending certain videos online, this is wrong as well. How should we react to them? Is boycott them. Simple. For many years we've said, support your Muslim brothers. Shop at your local stores. been saying this for years. Support your Muslim brothers. But we are the ones who, to save pennies, go to the supermarkets. Supermarkets who are run by the very people that you are saying against Islam. The very people you send messages against, you go and support them by doing a 50, 60 pound shopping. And then suddenly they can't provide for you, their shelves are empty, then you turn on your local stores. I'm not defending, if they are doing this, if they're hiking prices, they should fear Allah. But to expose them in the manner that is being done, that is wrong, because we never expose anyone's sin. Allah, is the power of social media greater than the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Yes or no? So we allow Allah to deal with them. So therefore, these are times where we should return back to Allah. There's a saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has two homes. Allah has two homes. One is a masjid. The masajids are known as Baytullah, Baytullah, plural. The houses of Allah are masjids. The second is what? Anyone? The second house of Allah, what is it? It's our hearts. Our qalb, our hearts. We find Allah in two places. One is the masjid. The other is our hearts. Allah is supposed to be living in our hearts at all times. So whilst the doors of the masjid are being closed, make sure that your door remains open to Allah. And these are the times we should go back to Allah. Don't waste your time in social media. Don't go around sending false allegations, false videos, false messages, scaremongering people. Criticizing masajids who are closing down. Every masjid, we have to respect the decision of the management. Most of the Jami masjids have all closed down. Those which are open, it's not that they've just opened, they are at risk themselves. Because if any masjid is open, for example, we have opened our masjid today, the one thing, the first action we did was to have two jamaats to lessen the burden. But we have to make sure that our masjid is clean, has been cleaned and ready to receive the worshippers. And we have to make sure as well that there is no one in the masjid who is suffering from those symptoms. Because every life in Islam is sacred. And we have to preserve life. Man ahya an-nasa fakaannama ahya an-nasa jami'a. A person who protects, preserves one life is as though he has preserved entire mankind. So those restrictions that have been put in place are for the safety of me and you. We don't want to, this is a last resort. And I can speak on behalf of the management and say that as long as we are told not to close the masjid, our masjid will remain open. However, there will be certain restrictions, which are as follows. As of tomorrow, the wudu place will be closed. So therefore, we request all brothers who regularly pray at this masjid to perform their wudu at home and come to the masjid. From tomorrow, the wudu place will be closed. Secondly, the masjid will open 15 minutes before salah and will close straight after the salah. Because now that the madrasa has closed and the classes have gone online to Skype, and that is something we are also, it's a lot of pressure on the management, we are sorting that out with the parents. But our main objective now, as of today, is that the masjid only be open, in fact, after the madrasa closes. Today will be the last day for the students. That after the madrasa temporarily suspends its services, closes down temporarily, our main objective will only be 5 times salah. Nothing else. So we don't want any programs in the masjid. The Dars of Quran has been cancelled. The ladies' classes, maktab classes. Our main objective is that we are keeping the doors open for you to come and pray your salah and then go home. Therefore, you have to respect the decisions of the management as well. This is not easy. Those people who are criticizing and cursing as well the management. One of the brothers who runs a Jami masjid, 5 times bigger than our masjid. I also lead Jummah there, I have one Jummah at that masjid. Was mentioning to me, was texting, saying, I've heard people cursing me because I've left the masjid open. Because I've left the masjid open, not because open people are cursing me. They're saying that you are going to cost the lives of Muslims. So we can't please everyone, but we are doing our utmost best. And our doors, inshallah, are open for this purpose, that you come, you pray your salah, and then revive a sunnah. And what is that reviving that sunnah? Pray your sunnah at home. The Prophet ﷺ prayed his sunnah salah at home. He never prayed in the masjid. He only prayed tahiyyatul masjid, which is giving salam to the masjid. 2 rak'ah he prayed and he led the salah. After that he went and prayed at home. So the only reason that our masjid will be open is for the congregation. And that is that 15 minutes prior the masjid will open, and once you've done your salah, you will be kindly requested to leave. All brothers are kindly requested to complete the sunnah salah. The adhan for the khutbah will be called out in a few moments, inshallah. And there will be a collection. Jazakallah khair. Pray your sunnah salah.